Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Michelle Ho. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Sinok Chung Isaac.
Can I check your identification?
Of course.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some more questions about yourself, okay? Can you describe the area where you live to me?
Well, I live in Hong Kong, to be specific in Tsuen Wan, which is a residential district with little commercial elements in it, and it is quite a nice community to live in.
What jobs do people in your town do?
Well, mostly people in my town are teachers, lawyers, and doctors.
How has your town or city changed over the last 20 years?
Well, to say that my town has redeveloped a lot, and many old buildings were torn down, and I was kind of sad about it because I lived in my district like for my entire life, but there are some great features about the new buildings, like the new malls and new shops, new places to hang with my friends. So there are benefits and some disadvantages. Yeah.
Do you think it is better to live in the center of town or outside in the country?
Well, I believe that living inside the town is much better than living in the countryside because it gets more convenient to travel to different places around the city, and living in countryside often have some undesirable pests, so I don't like pests so much, so I like to prefer staying in the city.
Now, let's go on to reading. Do you enjoy reading?
Well, I enjoy reading and I read a lot of books, especially those fictions, because I find that when I'm reading, I can immerse myself into a different world and I can really dump away all those troubles in my real life.
What sort of things do you like to read?
Well, I like reading fictions as it provides you with a completely new world, especially those science fiction novels, which gives you a chance to flow through the space and to explore the universe and something like that.
Tell me something about your favorite book.
Well, my favorite book is actually not a science fiction novel. It is a kind of a political novel. It is the 1984 by George Orwell, and it is quite shocking after I read it about how a regime can monitor their people. And what's more shocking is that many governments, even those governments who claim to be free, also uses such method to control the people, so that the horror it depicts in the novel is kind of reflected in the real society nowadays. So it really influences me the most. Yeah.
What are the advantages of reading instead of watching television or going to the cinema?
Well, I think the major advantage of books over movie and TV shows is that it gives you the space to imagine, as both TV and films would limit your imagination by showing the images the director wants you to see. But when a writer creates a world with his or her words, you can imagine according to his or her words, and also adding to your own personal experience. So I think this is the magnificent point of reading books.
Now, let's talk about transport. How did you come here today?
Well, I came here today by MTR.
What is public transport like in your town?
Well, the major public transport in my country is the railway, the underground railway, and also buses, and they are quite convenient unlike most countries. because Hong Kong is a small city, but the traffic demand is high, so they often have a tight schedule. So it won't take long for people to wait for the transportation.
Okay, now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about this for 1 to 2 minutes. You will have 1 minute to prepare. Do you understand? Yes. Here is a pencil and paper for writing notes. And here is your topic. Please do not write anything on the topic paper. I'd like you to talk about an exciting experience. All right. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this. So don't worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
So I would say the most exciting experience in my life was last summer when I had my graduation trip in Taiwan. And what happened exactly is that I rent a bike in the city in Taiwan from the hotel, and I was planning to watch the sunset in the coastline. And after I left, when I left the park, it was already night, so everything was dark. And as I was riding a bike, so I have to use the road with heavy traffics, and there are a lot of motorbikes in Taiwan, so I accidentally crashed into one of the motorbikes and I got slightly injured. But then I was received by a house owner nearby, and he invited me into his house, and he treated me well. But when I want to get back to the hotel, I found out that I forgot my way, and I even forgot the name of the hotel. So I don't know what to do. I was desperate by then, but the house owner was great enough to ask around to call each hotel and to find out whether my friend is in the hotel or not. And by some miracle, he found where my hotel is, and he personally drove me back to the hotel.
Thank you. Would you like to do this again?
Well, I don't think I would like to crash my bike again, especially it's not mine, I rented. And but if anything bad things ever happen again, I would be happy to be received by such hospitable person, and that was quite an exciting and unforgetting experience.
Thank you. Can I take the paper and pencil back, please? Thank you. We've been talking about an exciting experience in your life. Now, I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions relating to this topic. First, let's consider taking risks. What risks should people try to avoid?
Well, I think that those risks which would endanger lives should be avoided, like the new sports currently, the parkour, which some may play normally in parks using park benches or short walls to play parkour, but some people may be too dangerous and they play on the rooftops and they took selfies on the rooftop, which is quite a dangerous thing, considering that not only you will fall off the building and die, you could also injure someone who is walking below on the streets. So it is important for you to consider your own safety as well as others' safety in carrying dangerous actions. Yeah.
So do you think the government should set up some legislations to prevent people from taking such risks?
Well, I think that is quite hard for the government to set up a legislation to forbid people from committing dangerous acts, because everyone has their rights to do whatever they want, as long as it is not doing harms to others, but they can do things to harm themselves, and they could say this is their human right and you can't violate it.
Do you think people take fewer risks as they grow older?
Well, I believe that is right, because as a person gets older, he or she knows more about the world, and maybe they have a lot more attachment, like to attach to their partners, to their families, to their children, and they have too much responsibility in their hand. They can't take risks no more, so they will tend to be more conservative when they get older.
Now, let's move on to adventure. How important is it to have adventures in our lives?
Well, having an adventure in our lives is so important, because it not only get you out of your comfort zone, you get to know yourself. You get to discover yourself in a different aspect from what you have already empowered, and you got to explore your potentials to a certain extent that you may actually acquire new skills. And also, the most important thing about having adventure is to be exciting about your life instead of like working like a robot every day, and be really a human.
Do you think people in your country are adventurous?
Well, I'll say the people in my country are not quite adventurous. They tend to be more conservative and careful about their moves, because what they really hope for is a house, a car, a family. That's all they want. They don't want any surprises, and even the word surprise is sometimes negative in Chinese. So I would say they don't like adventures.
What do people learn about themselves from having adventures?
Well, personally, I learned from adventures that I find out that I have certain skills. Like when I got lost in Taiwan, I find out that some people do not trust other people easily, but when the house owner received me, I have a complete faith in him. So I find out that I can be confident with someone I don't know. I can be confident with total strangers. So this is my kind of power after having adventures.
Thank you. That's the end of the speaking test.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some more questions about yourself. Okay? Let's talk about your hometown or village. What kind of place is it?
It's quite a small village, about 20 kilometers from Zurich. Mm-hmm. And it's very quiet, and we have only two little shops, because most of the people work in Zurich or are orientated to the city.
What's the most interesting part of this place, the village?
On the top of a hill we have a little castle, which is very old and quite well known in Switzerland.
What kind of jobs do people in the village do?
We have some farmers in the village, as well as people who work in Zurich as bankers or journalists, or there are also teachers and some doctors, or some medicines.
Right. Would you say it's a good place to live?
Yes, although it is very quiet, it is people are friendly, and I would say it's a good place to live there, yes.
Let's move on to talk about accommodation. Tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in.
Good afternoon. My name's Jude Harvey. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Mariana Vieira Álvares Martins.
Thank you. And can you tell me where you're from, Mariana?
I'm from Portugal.
Can I see your identification, please? Thank you, that's fine.
You're welcome.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Tell me about your hometown. What do you like most about your hometown?
So I live in Cascais. It's a little town near Lisbon, around about 25 kilometers, and it's on the coast. So we have there a lot of beaches, and the weather is pretty warm in the summer, and it's not that cold in the winter. So we have a pretty good weather.
Is your hometown a popular place for tourists to
Yes,
visit?
it is. Actually, mostly because of the beaches, and we have a lot of sightseeing near Cascais in Sintra. We have castles, a lot of historical places, and we have a lot of good restaurants with an amazing panoramic views over the sea.
And has your hometown changed much in recent years?
Not as that I could remember. I don't think so. It's pretty much the same.
Let's talk about free time now. How much free time do you normally have?
I don't have much free time because this last 4 months I was making an internship. So it was from 10 to 6, then I had to come back to home, and I only had like about 3-4 hours per day, but on the weekends I have a free time, and I like to do surfing, go to the gym, go out with my friends, be with my family, reading.
Have your leisure activities changed much since you were young?
Yes, quite a lot. When I was around 12 and until 16, I used to do gymnastics. Then I quit the gymnastics. I started to surf. I surfed a lot. I started school at 8, and sometimes I went to the beach before 8, so 6 I was in the beach. And now I don't.
If you had more free time, how would you spend it?
Traveling around Portugal, maybe knowing some other places around, and more sports.
Let's talk about photos now. How often do you take photos?
Quite often. I like to take photos to save some moments that I am enjoying, or when I'm traveling. Not here in Cambridge, I take a lot of photos, and when I'm traveling around.
Do you prefer taking photos of people or of places?
People. I prefer
Why?
people. Because I think it's less boring than later to see the pictures, to remember.
What do you do with the photos you take?
I charge them into my computer, and the ones I prefer, I try to print them, and then I put them on the album or even in a portrait in my room.
Do you think the way people take photos is changing?
Yes, I think people nowadays, everyone has a photo camera, so people take more photos, and even the artists nowadays use a lot of photography in their art.
So this is the beginning of the international. Sorry, this is the International English Language Testing System, conducted on the 24th of October 2014 at Fusion English School. The examiner is Floyd Kermode, and the candidate is Jose. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, to begin with, Jose, I'd like to ask you a few questions about your hometown in your country.
Yes.
Where do you come from?
I am from Cali, Colombia.
And what do you like about your hometown?
This is a very cultural city. This is the main city for the sports in my country. Also, the weather is very cool for me because it's a high. The temperature usually is very high.
Right. And is there anything that you would like to change about your hometown?
Yes, maybe I want to change only the government that is very corrupt. is that.
And what sort of buildings are there in your hometown?
There is not many buildings because the city was made from scratch by people, was not planned, so it's mainly controlled by houses. It's only a main building in the center of the city that is very representative, but it's not many.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jose, let's move on to talk about friends. Do you have many close friends?
Somewhat, but some people, but not too much because I am very focused in improve my English. So I select my friends because I want to keep talking. So, for example, I left my friends of Colombians that cannot speak English.
And do you prefer to spend time with friends or with family?
Actually, I prefer spend time with friends that are close to me in my thinking about the IT systems because I keep learning my degree, my career. So I prefer to spend time with friends that keep
do adults and children make friends in the same way?
Excuse me, can you repeat?
Do adults and children make friends in the same way?
I don't think so. I think that the children are in other way to make friends that are more open to share your ideas, by the adults are in a different way more reserved to keep your thinkings for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And let's move on to talk about music. Jose, do you like music?
Yes, I like.
Why?
Because help me to concentrate when I develop software. For example, I like to listen electronic music or also classic music that don't include any voice, so I can keep focusing my.
And what kind of electronic devices do you normally use when you listen to music?
My computer through headphones that is a wireless headphones.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever learned how to play a musical instrument?
Only once I was a child. I played piano, but now no.
Mm-hmm. And which instrument would you prefer to study, the piano or the violin?
I would like to learn piano, violin, but I keep in piano can produce better sounds. I think it's easier to learn.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jose, I'm going to give you a topic, and you will have 1 to 2 minutes to prepare for it. I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to speak about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you speak, you will have 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute to prepare. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Here is a pen and some paper for making notes. Oops. write anywhere there, doesn't matter. And here is your topic. I'd like you to describe an intelligent person you know. You should say who they are, what kind of person they are, what they do, and why you think he or she is intelligent. All right. Now, remember, Jose, you have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this, so don't worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Well, a person that I know too much about him is Stephen Hawking, that is a scientific. He is doing research about the space, the astronomy. I read a lot about it because he has wrote a lot of books about the universe, the astronomy. He enjoyed talking about many theories that are too widely to the scientific people. He mainly spent their time talking through a seat because he used a computer to talk because he cannot speak. He have illness that block their speaking. He mainly speak through a machine, typing a keyboard to talk. He is meant too popular as scientific because has many theories about the black holes and the universe, the origin of the earth, the sun, the stars. What more about him? He is traveling around the world, giving conference seminars to the people that want to know more about the universe, the science. Yes, I want to learn more about that person that I know, and I'm keeping trying to read all the material that he produced. You want to know more about him?
Thank you. And do other people think this person is intelligent?
Yes, sure.
Yes. Thank you. Can I have the pencil and paper back, please? The task card back. Now, we've been talking about an intelligent person you know, and I'd like to ask you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Let's consider, first of all, intelligent people. Do you think intelligent people are happier than most people?
I don't think so because people that is supposed to be not intelligent are not worried about many things that intelligent people is worried about.
Oh, they worry more, do they?
Yes, so people that are not in the group of intelligent people that most people think that is not worried about how the things works, how the world is going. So I think that is happier people that is not in that group.
Oh, and do you think intelligent people enjoy their jobs more?
Yes, because it's in a very serious position to know more about how the things works and want to keep updates, learning more things.
Oh, so you think they do enjoy their work more?
Yeah.
Usually. Right. And And speaking about education, do you think it's good to have special classes for intelligent children in school?
Yes, I think yes, I am absolutely safe about that because not everybody understands in the same way. So I think that children or any people that are in certain level should have other kind of teaching to explode all your knowledge and your skills.
And just one more question. What do you think makes somebody a good teacher?
I think that their ability to understand their students and help to each one to achieve your goals.
Well, thank you very much. That is the end of the international testing system.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, do you want some feedback?
Yeah.
Okay, here's your feedback. Fluency, you did very well. You talked all the time. You needed to talk more in part 2, right? So it's not good to stop before the examiner stops you in part 2. So you need to plan. So you need to practice planning for a long part 2.
Okay.
Okay. I'm happy to help you with that. I'm very good at.
No problem with that too.
Oh, look, I love IELTS speaking. I'm really good at teaching it. I do it a lot. I know a lot about it, so I'm happy to help you. But apart from that, you were pretty fluent. You answered all the questions. Your answers made sense. I could understand them. Your grammar was reasonably complicated, but you had some problems with tense, so saying don't instead of doesn't, that kind of thing. You did have some good vocabulary. You talked about how building something from scratch. Does everyone know this expression? Yeah, that's really nice. That's that you know. Sorry?
Start from nothing.
That's right, starting from nothing. Yeah. So that was good and that was correctly used. Do sports is not correct. You should say play sports. Okay. So the areas, let's see. So your pronunciation was fine. I could understand your pronunciation. You have a strong Spanish accent.
Okay.
But
you feel?
Oh, yeah, but that's no problem. Your accent doesn't stop me understanding your words.
Okay. But this can be a problem in the United States?
Not really. You could use more stress, but it's an international test, so the examiner is not allowed to punish you because you've got a Japanese accent or a Vietnamese accent or an American accent or a Scottish accent or a Colombian accent. As long as it doesn't stop the examiner understanding the word. So if you're so Spanish that I don't know what the word is, I'll give you an example with Spanish. You say E before S, like esports. It's very Spanish. If you said a lot of that, the examiner might bring down your pronunciation score.
But this is about the pronunciation that is different from the accent, right?
That's right. That's different. I mean, it's like in Japanese, after a hard sound, like a t or a d, they put an extra vowel. So they say hoto instead of hot. Right. That would affect it because that's beyond accent. That's more than accent. Does that make sense? Yeah. So your grammar was okay, but you need to work on accuracy of words. You could make longer sentences.
Okay.
Fluency, like I said, speak more in part 2. In part 3, try to make long sentences. Talk as much as you can. It was pretty good, really.
Okay.
That's all.
What I need to get an 8 there?
An 8?
Yes. What lack? What is my?
Oh, I don't think you would get an 8.
No, I know that in this stage.
To get an 8.
I know, but I am near close to 6, 7, 8, 5.
Okay. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to give numbers in this school or not. I think you'd be reasonable for 6.5. I would guess.
Okay.
And possible 7.
Nearly to 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
not 8. For 8, you need much more accuracy with language and need to be much more confident.
For the 7th, what I need to fix to.
7, you need to use more things like from scratch accurately, and you need to have much less mistakes with grammar. You can still have mistakes with grammar for 7, but you need to have less. You know, the examiner needs to just close their eyes and think, yeah, I remember quite a few sentences that work perfectly. It's similar in your writing. In writing, the examiner should be able to close their eyes and go, oh yeah, a perfect sentence. I'll do it again. Another perfect sentence, right? For a 7. For a 6, it's sort of, oh, that one's okay. That's sort of, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I really apologize about the technical problems today. I'll try to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Phil Smith. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Brahim Idoubihi.
Thank you. And can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from France, near Paris.
Can I see your identification, please?
Yes.
Thank you. That's fine. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I work.
What kind of work do you do?
I work in a firm in accountancy. So I worked 7 years ago. So, yes.
And why did you choose this kind of work?
Because I think I'm good in mathematics. So, and I like economics in general. So, yes.
What kind of work would you like to do in the future?
I think I want to do the same work, but in a big company. I want to change my company
Why?
Because I'm in a small company, and in this small company, we can't say a lot of things than in a big company. In a big company, it's more done in abroad, and I want to travel in other countries also.
Now, let's talk about weekends. What do you usually do at the weekend?
At the weekend depends. Sometimes I like to relax, and when I have a very stressful week. But usually I like to meet some friends because I play football, and sometimes we have some competition. Also, I do some karate, but just like amateur, not in competition. And also with my friends, we like to go to the pub at night or some restaurants. Or usually, I like also to show some films, new films. It's very interesting. Yes.
What do you think you'll do next weekend?
Next weekend, I will meet English students. So because I need to practice English, and she speaks also French, so I help him. I help her in French, and she helped me in English. So, yes.
Do you enjoy your weekends now more than you did when you were a child?
Yes, I think so, because when I was a child, I think we are less stressful than now. Now in the work, usually we are very, very stressful. We are very stressed, and at the weekend we can relax, so it's more enjoying.
How important is it for you to relax at the end of the week?
Sorry?
How important is it for you to relax at the end of the week?
This is very important because all week we are very stressful. I have a work very stressful, and at the end of the week I like to decompress, to relax.
Let's talk about music. What sort of music do you usually enjoy listening to?
I enjoy all type of music: Oriental, French, English, sometimes Korean, because I have some friends Korean that.
Has the kind of music you like changed over the years?
Sorry.
Has the kind of music you like changed over the years?
Yes. When I was young, I listened more rock music and metal music. So now it's more pop music and world music in general.
Do you prefer listening to live music or recorded music?
I think live music it's better than recorded music.
Why?
Because it's live music. To listen live music, I will go there with some friends, so it's more enjoy and yes, more enjoy, and we can see the face to face some singer, and I think it's better. But for recorded music, it's good, but I think there are two remix, and it's not the real voice of a singer. So,
thank you. Now, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
okay.
Here's some paper and a pencil for making notes. And here's your topic. I'd like you to describe a special gift or present you gave to someone. All right. Now remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you.
Okay.
I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, so the special gifts that I give, it's a ring to my girlfriends. So at the beginning, this ring I want to, I went in many shops to find it, but I never find the ring that I like, because some rings are more complicated, they're too much, and some rings it's too simple. So I asked my grandmother to help me to find this ring for my girlfriend. So we went also in the lot of shops, and we don't find the very good. After that, she gave me her ring that she have from from my grandfather. So that's my gift for. It's a special gift because she's a ring. She have a history, family history, and that's okay.
Do you enjoy giving gifts?
Yes, because usually I give some gifts only to people that I like very, very much, not just my friends. So for my friends, I can give some gift, like some flower or some perfume. That's some gifts that they don't take for a long time.
Thank you. Can I have the booklet and the pencil and paper back, please? We've been talking about a special gift you gave to someone, and I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Let's consider first of all giving gifts in families. On what occasions do family members give gifts to each other in France?
In France, we give some gifts all the time. Some Christmas, birthday, New Year's, and some events like Saint Brian or Saint. And usually when we are successful in some exam or something like that. So,
and do people spend a lot of money?
Yes, a lot of money, and sometimes for just when there are no events, just usually we can give some gifts.
So what sort of gifts do children give to adults in their families?
Usually some picture they make in the school, or some flowers also, yes, because they have usually some pocket money, and they spend their money for some gifts, usually for their mother, or not for their friends, for their brother or sister.
And do you think adults appreciate gifts that children have made themselves more than gifts that they've bought in a shop?
Yes, I think made in self, it's look like they invest their time and their thinking about that, so it's more complicated than to buy something in the shop. So, yeah.
So how important do you think it is for families to give gifts to each other?
It's make some relationships between us, and they prove their feelings between us, so it's really important.
Let's move on now and talk about giving gifts in society in general. In what situations might people give gifts when they're in business?
In business, I think just at some events like New Year and Christmas. Otherwise, they don't give some gifts. So sometimes at the end of the balance sheets, at the end between March and April, sometimes we received some gift, or we give some gifts.
Okay, so in France, do you think companies spend a lot of money on business gifts?
Yes, it's important for relationships between the clients and the supplier. So yes, a lot of, and sometimes the gift it's also like advertised, because they made some pens or some glasses with bread of a company. So sometimes it's also a good advertise.
Right.
Yes.
So it's important for the company, but what about gift giving for the economy of the country in general? I mean, in France, is buying gifts an important part of the economy, do you think?
Yes, I think so. I think buying the gifts in France, particularly, it's a very big business, and many shops and many employees depend this sector, and also the tourist sector live with this things, and that's all.
Right. Now, some people say that it would be better for society if all the money that was spent on gifts was given to help poor people instead. What do you think about that?
I think we have to help the poor people, but we have also to make some relationships between us, because I think it's also very important. And of course, we have to help other people, like third world, because we have to find a balance between that.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Phil Smith. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Sausan Hassan.
Thank you. And can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from Syria.
Can I see your identification,
Yes,
please?
sure.
Thank you, that's fine. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work, or are you a student?
I'm a student.
And what subject are you studying?
English literature.
Why did you choose this subject?
Well, I like literature very much, and English is international language, so English literature is one of the best majors I've ever studied, so I like it very much.
What do you hope to do when you finish your studies?
Well, I'm planning to complete my higher studies. I'll be doing an MA, and eventually I'll be doing a PhD to be a professor in English literature.
Now let's talk about weekends. What do you usually do at the weekend?
Well, usually I go to visit my relatives or even friends, but sometimes I stay at home just for if I have exams or something to study, so I just stay at home. But most of my time, actually, I spend it with my friends, going out for to drink something or to have fun, enjoy it.
What do you think you'll do next weekend?
Well, next weekend I have to go to a trip to York, and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, why?
Well, because I've heard that York, it's a very ancient city, and the Vikings were there, and I like the ancient things and I like history.
Do you enjoy your weekends now more than you did when you were a child?
Well, not really. When I was a child, I just spent all my weekends playing, but now I have lots of concerns. Sometimes I have to stay at home to study, so no, when I was a child, I enjoyed it most.
How important is it for you to relax at the end of the week?
Well, it is very important because you just relax out of the whole week because you were studying or working. So you need peace and relax and sometimes to take a great time of sleeping just to prepare yourself for the next week.
Let's talk about music. What sort of music do you usually enjoy listening to?
Well, I like music very much because I'm a singer myself. I like to sing, so I have a great taste of music. I like the classical, I like the Arabic music, and so music is very important. I have to listen to music all the day.
Has the kind of music you like changed over the years?
Well, yes, it changed because I used to listen to the almost it's slow music, and nowadays it's just in the very fast, and sometimes techno, and I don't like this kind of music. I still listen to the music that I liked, and I still have the same CDs, and all the time I listen. I sometimes listen to this music, the new music, but I don't like it. I just like to listen to the music that I liked when I was a child.
Do you prefer listening to live music or recorded music?
Well, recorded. I don't like live music because
Why?
I feel always the singer is not good in live music, so I feel that recorded is better.
Do you think listening to music helps you study?
Yes, I always listen to music when I'm studying. Sometimes my friends make fun of me because I'm not concentrating, but actually it makes me more concentrated.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Here's some paper and a pencil for making notes. And here's your topic. And I'd like you to describe a special gift or present you gave to someone. All right. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. The special gift actually I gave to my mother, and it was a necklace in the Mother Day, And actually, I've been to different shops to search for what am I going to give my mother, because you know, giving her anything is just, you feel it. It's very simple. But I looked for different shops, and I then decided to take a very lovely necklace, and it wasn't that much expensive because I was. I had the money for it, so, and I asked the salesman to wrap it for me in a very colored papers, and I just tried to put the red tie on it, and then I hide it in my. I didn't tell her about it till the party, because we usually make a party for my mother in the Mother Day, so I didn't tell her about it till at the party. And when I gave it to her, she was really happy very much, and she was almost in tears because she really liked it, and she told me, no matter how simple it is, since you think about giving me anything, so that's really great. So I was really happy for really giving her this present, and she is wearing it every time when she goes out, or and she always tell her friends about it. Look what she brought, what my daughter brought to me in the Mother Day. So I really was proud and happy that she really liked it. Yeah. And so every time I see it, she really she's really proud of it. And
do you enjoy giving gifts?
Yes, I really enjoy. I like even to take gifts, but I enjoy giving gifts to my friends or to the members of my family, because it shows that you are thinking of them and you really care for them.
Thank you. Can I have the booklet and the paper and pencil back, please?
Yes.
We've been talking about a special gift you gave to someone, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Let's consider first of all giving gifts in families. On what occasions do family members give gifts to each other in Syria?
Well, usually they give gifts on birthdays, in special occasions like, for example, the Eid in my country, and in Christmas time. So, and sometimes if anybody was graduated from college or from school, and somebody who is get out of a hospital and he's now in a very good health, so we usually give them presents and gifts.
Do people tend to spend a lot of money on gifts?
Sometimes, yeah, but it depends on the person that you are giving the gifts, and it depends on your own financial status.
Okay, let's talk about the type of gifts that children give to adults and their families. What sort of gifts do they give?
This is really interesting, because the children always tend to think from their own view, that for example, if a small child is going to give his father or mother a gift, he's going to tend to give him a kind of a toy maybe, or something that is the father or the mother won't use, but because the child thinks that I like this, so I want to give it to my father. So they always give it from their point of view, that because I like this, my father is going to like it. So it's really interesting. The child, it's very simple and sometimes it's very humble. The gifts.
So at what age do children start to choose gifts for their parents, do you think?
Well, it depends how the parents brought them up. Sometimes I think it's when they start to recognize the real relationships, because when they were before 7 or before 6 years old, they tend not to recognize what does it mean to give a gift or to give, and even they don't recognize the relationships. But after 7, I think they start to recognize and to feel that I need to give a present to my father or mother, as they are giving me, and every time I have an occasion.
So how important do you think giving gifts is within families?
Yeah, it is important, because you always give them the feeling that you are really caring for them, and you really think of them. And whenever you give them things that they like, you feel that you're really all the time thinking of them. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it's also tied up the relationships and makes it more strong. Yeah.
Thank you. Right, let's move on from personal gifts to international gifts, if you want, and talk about international aid. What sort of aid do countries give to other countries?
Well, sometimes it gives the international aids whenever a country is in need for something and the country cannot afford to make it or to bring it, so the other countries will help her, for example, in food aids, and especially in disasters and when something bad happened to this country, so they're going to give it food aids, sometimes medical aids, sometimes psychological aids, as we do, because I work in the Red Crescent, so I know what does it mean to give a psychological aids for sometimes for refugees, or for even to go for the near countries that really in need. For example, in my country, we go to Iraq or to Lebanon when the invasion, and so we help them psychologically to just pass and get over this problem.
So what do you think motivates government to give aid to other countries?
Well, it is important because I feel that let us recognize ourselves that at the end we are all human beings and we are living in the same club, and it's like a small village, and we are all members of the same the same land. So I feel it's just really makes the relationships more strong, and it gives you. It really lets you feel like your humanity at the end.
And do you think the aid is always helpful?
Yes, I think so. Because whenever you think of giving aid to other countries, I mean, it's when they are in need. I mean, it's really helpful.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Hello. Come in. Take a seat. This is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System, taking place on Saturday the 29th of September at Didtown Centre. Centre number DD783. The candidate is Javier Manuel Rico, and the candidate number is 0004290. The examiner is Carol Kennedy, examiner number 433816. Good morning. My name is Carol Kennedy. Can you please tell me your full name?
Yes, I'm Javier Manuel Rico.
And what should I call you?
You can call me Xavi.
Can I see your identification, please, Xavi? Here. Thank you. Right. In the first part of the interview, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. So let's talk about what you do. Do you work or study?
I'm still studying in my final year. I've nearly finished my career, my course.
And what are you studying? And do you enjoy it?
I'm studying law, and yes, I do enjoy it, most aspects of it, but in this final year there is a lot of hard work and a lot of reading, and I cannot say that I enjoy all of this reading, but what I really enjoy is working on case studies. What I mean is discussing cases. I like to exchange ideas with people.
So what are your future plans?
I want to have a career in law. I have to decide which area to specialize in first, and then maybe study for another 4 or 5 years. I hope to specialize in environmental law, which is the law that businesses use to have to abide by to ensure that their practices do not affect the environment.
Let's talk about friendships. How do you spend time with your friends?
Like most other people, I think, having a drink or a meal. I play football sala with some old friends. I think it's called five-a-side in this country. There are sometimes 6 or 7 of us. I haven't been able to keep it up, so I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
And is there one person you could call your best friend?
I would say maybe my girlfriend is my best friend. Although if you ask her, maybe she doesn't say this. But among my male friends, I do not think that I have a friend who is closer than all the others. In Spain, we tend to have a big group of friends. On the weekend, maybe a Friday or Saturday, we will all go out together. Sometimes classmates from school or university, and a big group of guys and girls, 15 to 20 of us, will go out and have a meal or end up in a club or a bar and sing some music.
And can you tell me about a friend you remember from your childhood?
That is going back a long time. There is a boy that I don't know now, but was a very good childhood friend of mine, was called Hector. We were about 9 or 10 years old, and we did everything together. He was kind of geeky, I guess. I had other friends that I had similar interests with and I did sport with, but I like Hector because he was very different. He used to play with chemistry sets and fix engines and things like this. But then we went on to different secondary schools and we made new friends and we grew apart.
Now let's move on to talk about culture. Tell me about something that you feel is special to the culture in your country. I mean, it could be the food or maybe the music or perhaps art and literature.
I could talk about any of these things, but give me a moment. I think it's better that I talk about food. I'm very proud of Spanish art and literature, but I think that I know most about food. You could say I'm a food expert. Actually, I think Spanish food could be more recognized. I mean, everybody knows dishes like tortilla and paella, and there are tapas restaurants in every city, but our cuisine is more sophisticated than that. And when everybody comes to Spain, they think that we only ever eat snacks, and when you go for a meal, there are lots of dishes on one table. There are some very good tapas restaurants, but most of them are, how do you say, specialized, not specialized, standardized, because they make the food so that everybody will like it. It's like Italian food or Chinese food.
So is there a traditional dish that's associated with your country?
I'd say that there are not one traditional dish, but there are many regional dishes that are famous. For example, paradilla is very famous in coastal areas, which is grilled seafood, and a good one will have every kind of fish you can imagine. But if you're in the mountains, you will eat food that is from the mountains, maybe a deer or goat or things like this. But don't think that Spanish food is necessarily just about traditional dishes. Like I say, the best restaurants are the most adventurous.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to plan what you're going to say and you can make notes if you wish. You understand?
Yes.
So, there's your paper and pencil. And that's your topic. So, I'd like you to describe an event that you attended recently. Okay. Now you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time's up. Could you please start speaking now?
I'm going to talk about my grandparents' golden wedding anniversary, which was 2 months ago. They're in their 70s now and have been married for 50 years, so it was a very special day. I've been to many kind of anniversaries and parties and weddings, but I must say that I enjoyed this day more than any other. It was a moving and memorable day. I think that the combination of the importance of the day and the fantastic atmosphere was what made it so special. This anniversary was in a country house, which in Spain we call una finca, which is like an old ranch. There were many guests who came from far and wide. This venue was perfect because there was a courtyard and a big garden, a magnificent hall where we could have the evening meal. My girlfriend and my brother's girlfriend, they came together with us. As soon as we arrived with everybody there, my mother, she saw everybody and started to cry. I can tell you that my mother, she cries very easily, and there were plenty more tears on this day. There were musicians playing in the courtyard, like an orchestra with just 4 people, and everybody had a glass of champagne. Now, perhaps the most important thing of this day was the people that I saw there. I saw many uncles and aunts that I had not seen for many years, and many cousins that I had not seen since I was a boy. My mother's brother came from Canada, and one of my grandfather's sisters came from Australia. It was very emotional, and it was wonderful to see my grandparents this happy. The best moment for me was when my grandfather made his speech. He thanked my grandmother for sticking with him all these years, and it was not only my mother crying at this point, I can assure you. He is a very good speaker, and he made everybody laugh as well. And finally, of course, they cut the cake, and everybody came together for the group photo. And,
Thank you. So what time did you get to bed that night?
I think we were some of the last to leave at around 2 a.m.
Thank you. Can I have the booklet, the pencil and the paper? Thank you. Now, you've been telling me about an important event in the past that you attended. Now, in the final 5 minutes of this test, I'd like to ask you some more general questions that are related to this. Let's talk about past events in general. Do you think photographs are the best way to record and remember special events in our lives?
That's a really good question, and I mean, of course, photos are a part of our lives now in a way that was not possible in other eras. I read the other day that more photos are taken now than ever before, and I mean, millions or maybe billions of photos every day. It's as if we have to take a photo to prove that something happened. I can understand that. I mean, I think that people want to remember special events and even everyday things too. And personally, I love taking photos when I go places and see my friends. And I also love looking at old photos. I think they can provide an insight into the past as well.
Why do you think that?
I think that they can be very powerful and remind us of special places and people, and even remind us what we were doing this day or how we can be feeling in this moment. They are also a record of our lives visually, and for example, photos of you as a baby and then as a child, and that thing is an incredible thing, like a diary. I think it can act as a trigger for memory as well.
What about written records? Can they also encourage us to remember past events?
Written records? By written records, do you mean writing things down like diaries or letters?
Yes.
Well, yes, I think that writing things down can definitely help us to remember the past, but also the reality is that people no longer write things down in the same way, like long letters or diaries. Some people do, but I think that we have less time and patience nowadays, and writing is more of a luxury, I suppose. In fact, I cannot remember the last time that I put pen to paper, apart from this exam. I think I can just about stretch to a postcard. However, my mom tells me that she kept a daily diary, throughout her childhood, recording everything that she did. She wrote lots and lots during the school holidays especially, and I like the idea of doing that, but I know that I would never get around to actually sitting down and putting my thoughts on a page.
And which do you think is better, recording important moments by taking photographs or by writing them down?
Well, I'm not sure that I can come down on one side or the other. So on balance, I would say that visual image is more powerful. I'm trying to think of a good example here. There are so many famous photos that capture a moment in time, but one particular photo stands out for me is the image of the wall coming down in Berlin, in Germany in 1989. When you look at the photos, you can imagine the place and the time and the moment very, very clearly. And I think it's amazing that one image can do that.
Some people think that it's more important to be concerned about events in the future than events in the past. What do you think?
I'm not sure that I can agree with that, because I do not believe we can make sense of the future unless we understand what happened in the past.
Why do you say that?
Well, in Spain we are very proud of our culture and identity, and I'm sure that that is true for many people across the world. Maybe that's why so many people spend a lot of time researching back into their family history. I know that from traveling around to other countries like the UK, how important history is and how important celebrating the past is. It enables people to understand where they came from and where they are going. So in that sense, the past and the future are linked. So we cannot forget the past, even if we do want to concentrate on the future.
Thank you very much. That's the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Judith Harvey. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Razia Bilici.
Thank you. And can you tell me where you're from, Razia?
I'm from Turkey.
Can I see your identification, please? Thank you. That's fine. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I'm a nurse.
And why did you choose this kind of work?
I have two reasons for that. First, I'm from Turkey. In Turkey, you have to pass the very difficult exam if you like to go to the university. And I get mark for just nursing, I think. And the second one, from my childhood, I always be like doctor or nurse and to help other people. So I really like that, which is my mom always contrasts because she wants to maybe a teacher like my sisters.
What kind of work would you like to do in the future?
I don't know system in England very well, but maybe nursing advisor or some management job. I don't know exactly.
Now let's talk about weekends. What do you usually do at the weekend?
At the moment my weekends are very busy because I do a lot of housework and I have a 2.5 years daughter. She's a very exciting and energetic child, and she mess up everywhere very quickly. It's not easy to tidy up and do it well.
What do you think you'll do next weekend?
I planned something for last week, but I couldn't do it. I'd like to bring my husband to the cinema, and after cinema maybe we'll go to the Turkish restaurant in St. Thais.
Do you enjoy your weekends now more than you did when you were a child?
No, I prefer to be a child again, because when you are a child you just play and you haven't got any responsibility or job to do, but now it's so different and difficult.
How important is it for you to relax at the end of the week?
It's very important, but at the moment it's not possible because now I'm studying English as well. Is when you start a job or study, you would like to be fresh, but it's really difficult to be.
Now let's talk about music. What sort of music do you usually enjoy listening to?
I'm not fan of music a lot, but I usually listen to Turkish music, and the classic Turkish music is get me relaxed. And
has the kind of music you like changed over the years?
Maybe pop music, Turkish pop music, probably. Yeah.
Do you prefer listening to live music or recorded music?
It depends on the kind of music. In Turkey, I prefer live music, but in England, I have to listen to tape music.
Do you think listening to music helps you study?
Probably not, but I do a lot. It's okay with the physics or maths or something like that, but for the literacy or something you have to be focused on it, it's not.
Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Here's some paper and a pencil for making notes.
Thank you.
And here's your topic. I'd like you to describe a special gift or present you gave to someone. All right. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes, the special gifts I give it to someone, it was to my, I gave it to my English teacher last year. She is a fan of Turkey and Turkish culture. I gave to her some special glass, which is we just use for the Turkish tea, and she loves Turkish tea. And my last holiday, I bring some special like a golden Turkish glasses, and she really liked them. It was special because she likes Turkish culture, Turkish food, and she knows a lot about Turkey. When we are together, we can speak a lot about my culture, my religion, and stuff from Turkey or cities of Turkey. And she's great, I think, because it's really nice to know somebody from England and know about you well. And another gift, another special gifts I give somebody who was my mother-in-law, and normally we don't celebrate Mother Days, and she had never had any present from her child, and in my family we celebrate Mother Days very specially, and I bought a ring for her, and she was really exciting and sensible, because the first time somebody celebrate her Mother's Day, and she even didn't know about Mother's Day, but I explained to her, and then I give her gifts, and after that I always do.
Thank you. Do you enjoy giving gifts?
Yes, I really like to give people gifts. When I saw them, they like it, they're excited about it, I feel happy too.
Thank you. Can I have the booklet, paper and pencil back, please? We've been talking about a special gift you gave to someone, and I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Let's consider, first of all, giving gifts in families.
Okay.
What occasions do family members give gifts to each other?
It depends on country, because every country has a different occasion. In England, I have been here for 4 years, especially before Christmas. People are crazy about giving gifts, shopping. But for us in Turkey, we have a lot of special religious days. 2 of them are very big. One of them we celebrate for 4 days. Another one we celebrate for 3 days. And we bought a lot of gifts for family ships and neighbors, sometimes friends, and one of them we buy present for poor people, especially for poor people.
What is the difference between the types of gift given to children and the gifts given to adults in families?
It's easy to find gifts for children because you can buy toys, books, or some clothes, but for the adults it's really difficult to find what they would like.
So what types of gifts do people give to adults?
Maybe some jewelry or some part of clothes, probably, yeah.
And is giving gifts important in families?
Yes, because you show them, you remember them, you love them. It's really important to me, yeah.
Let's talk about giving gifts in society. What situations in business are there when people might give gifts?
Probably maybe first day they set up their business, they celebrate that and give a present to employees or worker. And or in Turkey, colleagues give each other and or to their boss in New Year.
And what about giving gifts to customers?
Good way to keep customer, I think. Yeah.
What types of gifts do businesses give?
I really don't know. Maybe some sale or drop in the price, something like that.
And how important is gift giving for a country's economy?
I think in England it's perfect for economy because gifts are very important. Normally for us, if we know people haven't got the money, they don't have to buy anything. But I think this country you have to buy something, and it's a good circle for to keep money turned and turned again and again.
Do you think there's pressure on people to buy too many gifts?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Why?
Because I don't know very well, but if you have some special days and you didn't get anything, maybe you will be sad and we expect that.
Do you think it would be better for society if all the money that was spent on gifts was given to help poor people?
Yeah, that would be perfect, but I don't think it's possible. But that will be really good, yeah.
Why not possible?
Because people still like have a present or being remembered, something like that. But it would be nice, yeah.
Do you think people in society should be made to give money to help other people?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know where is the poor people, or I don't know there is or not. If the society or the government or the another community help me to find poor people, probably I will, yeah, and other people will too.
Is it better for people to give money or their time to help other people?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it?
Is it better for people to give money or their time to help other people?
Yes, it's better because when you need the help, other people will help you and it will be a circle again and everybody will help each other.
So do you think that we should be made, or school children should be made to help other people?
Yeah, if you train at a young age, it will be like a habit for you. When an adult or older, you will always help the people, yeah. It's like a science or math, I think.
Thank you very much. That's the end of the speaking test.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Phil Smith. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My full name is Leonardo Bellomo.
And can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from Italy. I come from Venice.
Can I see your identification, please?
Yes.
Thank you. That's fine. Now, in this part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Tell me about your hometown. What do you like most about your hometown?
My hometown is really, really nice. It's the one, I think it's one of the most beautiful city in the world. And so I like very much everything. But probably I like more the corner that are less popular, because all the city is every time in every period of the year full of tourists. So sometimes it could be quite difficult to move and to have a normal life. But in this corner, less popular, it's easier, and I think they are nicer.
And has Venice changed much in recent years?
The change, he doesn't really change. The only change is that every year we have more tourists. So it's going to become every year a more touristy place, and and less people are living inside Venice. That's the changement.
Let's talk about photos now.
Yeah.
How often do you take photos?
I usually take photo when I'm going to do a trip, and so I'm watching new places, and I'd like to photograph what I see to remember all the place I saw after when I'm come back home.
Do you prefer taking photos of people or places?
Of people, because I think if you want to have the photograph of a place, you can go on the website, or you can buy a postcard. But what you can't have is a picture of this place and the people that you know there in this place. So that's more important, and more important also for your memories, because yes, the picture of the place are always available.
What do you do with the photos you take?
With my photos, I think I put the photo in my laptop, and sometimes when I have some free time, I have the desire to remember something. I start to watch again the photo, and because they can remind me my past holiday. And
do you think the way people take photos is changing?
Yeah, of course. After the digital camera, the people take photo and picture of every corner, also of the stupid corner or the things that are not so important, because it's not expensive to take a picture like before the digital camera. So we have a lot of pictures that are completely unuseful.
Let's talk about free time now. How much free time do you normally have?
It depends from the period of my life, because I used to study at the university. I finished 2 months ago, and it depends from the period, because when I have my exam, I don't have so much free time, because I spend more of my days studying. But in the other period, when I have only the lesson, I have the afternoon or the morning free. So yes.
So what do you like doing best in your free time?
I'd like very much to reading books, or watching movie, or spend my time with my friends, going out to drink something, going some club or pubs.
And have your leisure activities changed much since you were young?
I think not so much. Probably when I was a child, I used to read different kind of books, and I used to watch different kind of movie. But more or less, I think the activities I like are the same.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Here's some paper and a pencil for making notes.
Okay.
And here's your topic. I'd like you to describe a situation when someone you didn't know helped you.
Okay.
All right. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up, and can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. The situation I'm going to tell happened when I was a child. I was, I think, something like 5 years old, and I was on holiday with my parents in Sardinia, in the island, Italian island. I was on the beach, and it was evening, probably at the last hour of the afternoon, 7 o'clock, and I was playing on the beach. I was running in one direction and after in the other direction, and I got lost. And it was very difficult for me to find again my parents, because the beach was really long, and every part of the beach was pretty similar, so it was difficult to find exactly the place in which my parents were. So I walked a lot, and finally I found a couple of 2 boys. I don't remember now, probably one boy and one girl. I don't remember exactly their age, but probably they are young. They were young, and they started to help me. And they say, how old are you? What are you doing here? You are alone in this beach. And I told them that I was lost. And so they helped me. They took my hand. They hold my hand, and we walked together in this beach. And finally, we found the place in which there were my parents. But because I used to take holiday with a camper, and I saw the camper of my parents, and I started to run.
Okay, thank you, Leonardo. Can I have the booklet and paper and pencil back, please? We've been talking about a situation when someone you didn't know helped you, and I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Let's consider, first of all, children helping others. What kind of things can children do to help in the home?
I think probably the first thing is being tidy, and don't throw their toys in every kind of in every corner of the house, because it's less work for their parents. So this is the first thing, and maybe after, then when they grow up a little bit, they can help with to prepare the table for the dinner, or they can start to tidy their room. And yes, I think this is the most.
How can children best learn to be helpful to others?
I think probably one of the most important things is having a model. And so obviously the first model for the children are their parents. So if the children see their parents and see that they are helpful people, they can learn to be helpful as well. I think so. The most important is and after, yes, the education. The parents must teach to their children that it's important to be helpful with the other people, and yes.
Okay. So what ways can school encourage children to help in the community?
I think the school can encourage children, maybe show the different way in which they can help, and the different association in which maybe not in the school but in their free time the children can help join this association, and after try to explain with some example the importance of helping people.
Right. Let's talk now about working for other people without payment. Mm-hmm. What types of voluntary work are most popular in Italy?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know exactly the most popular, but I'm sure that there are some voluntary associations for helping old people, for helping people who is now in jail. I know that because my grandmother is the president of this kind of voluntary association, so they teach to the people who are in jail, and they try to help them after they come out to find a job and to live in the society without problem, to integrate better in the society.
Now, you said your grandmother helped.
Yeah.
Is it normally older people who do voluntary work, or do all ages do voluntary work?
I think all ages, but probably when the people are retired, they have more free time, and probably most of the people are old after they stop to work. And
so, how do individuals benefit from doing voluntary work?
I think the individual benefit because when you help another people, you have a really good feedback, because you understand that you are useful for somebody, and that what you do it's important, and so you can feel better with yourself, and you can find a reason of your day, your life.
Okay. In which ways can voluntary work improve life for the community?
I think that voluntary work can improve the life of the community because can offer a lot of service for the people who need more help, for the poorest people, or for the old people, or for the people who have some difficulties to live in the society. So it can be really useful, because sometimes the government or the country don't offer this kind of services, and we need other associations that do this kind of work, and they can make a better place to live, the society on a corner of the city. Or yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Good afternoon. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself.
Yes.
Let's talk about where you live. What do you like most about your hometown?
Well, actually, I come from a very small town with around 5,000 inhabitants. It's more or less 50 kilometers from Como, which is the main town. And the thing I like the most of my town is probably the fact that you can stay. It's a very secluded area, and you can you can relax. So you don't have the stressful life of the city. And
is your hometown a popular place for tourists to visit?
Yeah, there are many tourists, especially in the summer, that flocking to my town and near town in Switzerland too, for holiday, for a week, for a month, especially from Germany, France.
And has your hometown changed much in recent years?
But honestly, I think it hasn't changed very much in the recent years. It's a small town, there haven't been a lot of change. But now there are not many people coming to my town as there were in the 80s. In the 80s it was very popular to come there, especially from Holland.
Now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some paper and a pen for making notes, and here's your topic. Please don't write on anything on the booklet.
Yes.
I'd like you to describe a time when you helped someone.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, you want to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up.
Yes.
Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. The moment I remember I helped somebody was a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine. He is completely in love with a girl that is now his girlfriend, and I helped him to conquer his girlfriend because he's a very shy person and introverted. Is not very self-confident at all, absolutely. And so I gave him some advice to try to conquer, let's say. And I told him to take her out for a dinner. It's a very simple thing, but sometimes it's difficult for some people to understand it. And the result was that she was expecting him to ask her to go out. And so they had a beautiful evening together, and they are now a couple, let's say. And I felt really useful in this moment and helpful. I'm happy to have the chance to help a friend of mine, because on the other hand, he helped me in many stages and many moments of my life. And then thanks to this moment, now we are very, very good friends. And I think that's all.
We've been talking about a time when you helped someone, and I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Let's consider first of all helping neighbours. Can you tell me some of the practical things that people can do to help their neighbours?
To help our neighbours, I think the most common action you can do to help a neighbour would be to lend him something. He doesn't have to take care of his children when he's away, or take a look at his house when he's on holiday. These kind of things.
Why should neighbours help each other?
Because it comes quite natural, I think. You may have a problem. You may have a problem one day, and if there is somebody that can help you, it's a good thing. So, yeah.
You live in quite a small town, and you know Como as well. Do you think that people in small towns help each other more than people in cities?
Yes. Yeah, I think that it depends on the country. For example, here in experience I had here in England showed me that people are much more helpful here than in Italy. And but I think that generally in a small town, since you more or less know each other, you are more kind and you tend to help other people more easily.
Right. So why don't they do the same in cities?
Because the life in city is quite stressful. There are many people that they have to run from one part to the other of the city, and they don't take care of people that maybe needs help. They don't notice.
Okay, let's go on and think about attitudes towards helping other people. Some people don't want to help other people. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I don't know, but I think that the main attitude is help.
Yeah.
People tend to help each other.
Maybe they've had a bad experience, or...
Yeah, it may be that sometimes you had a bad experience in which you felt really bad and nobody helped you, and now you don't feel ready to do it with the peoples. But I think that, by the way, you should always try to be helpful, because you can't base your attitude on a past experience.
Do you think that the governments have a responsibility to help people?
Yes. I think the government should create a structure, should create also the right base to give people the chance to take up a mindset. In which a mindset of helpfulness.
Right. but doesn't that sometimes mean that people think that it's only the government's responsibility?
No, it's not only government responsibility. First of all, it's a personal responsibility. I think that everyone should help each other, first of all. Mm-hmm. Then the government can create the structure and then can act in the right way to allow people to be helpful. Mm-hmm. And to help each other. But I think that mainly it's a feature of a person.
So, Emanuele, do you think that some people deserve help more than others?
No, I don't. I think everybody deserves the same amount of help from other peoples. But sometimes I understand that it's difficult to help some people. First of all, people that don't behave in a right way, or that made you suffer during your life, or with people you had a bad experience with. But in general, I think that everybody should have the same amount of help.
Okay, let's go on and think about attitudes towards helping other people. Some people don't want to help other people. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I don't know, but I think that the main attitude is help. Yeah. People tend to help each other.
Maybe they've had a bad experience, or...
Yeah, it may be that sometimes you had a bad experience in which you felt really bad and nobody helped you, and now you don't feel ready to do it with the peoples, but... I think that, by the way, you should always try to be helpful, because you can't base your attitude on a past experience.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thanks.
Now, we've been talking about a well-known person who you like or admire, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Let's consider, first of all, being in the public eye. Famous people are watched by everybody. What are the advantages and disadvantages of that?
Okay, the advantages is that a lot of people watching you, so you become famous, and there are a lot of things which you can do correctly and politically right, because there is media watching you, and you can go ahead and pass the message to the media in a right way. The disadvantage is that you have to be diplomatically correct. At times, if there are certain things which are incorrect, still you have to go ahead and do that, which doesn't make sense, because there are a lot of political leaders, they are into corruption back in India, and at times, there are some things which are wrong, but they have to do it.
Why do they have to do it?
Because there's a lot of political pressure, and if they don't do it, the political party would not support them, and in the end they have to resign.
Do you think the media plays a role in that? What is the media's approach to reporting what famous people do?
Well, media plays an important role. At times, media will actually show things which are not correct, or if you see it, it looks like, yeah, he's wrong, but that's not the case. So media plays a very important role. They portray in a wrong manner at times, and sometimes they do portray in a right manner.
Can anything be done about that, do you think?
Not really, because in today's world, what has happened is everything is communicated by media, television, news, internet. So you just have to go ahead and probably call the media and do a meeting and answer questions to the public and give justification and reasons.
Very often the media reports on the most trivial things in important issues, but people are fascinated by those things. Why are people fascinated by?
Because these days people like to listen to gossip and trivial things. They're not interested in the bigger part, what's happening. They have a simple life. They would like to live it their way. They are not bothered what is happening within the country. There are only few people you see are really interested in knowing about the country and, you know, getting all the information and reacting.
Let's go on and talk about this celebrity culture. How are famous people used by advertisers nowadays?
Famous people are really used for advertising because one, they can promote the product, and two, there are a lot of fans. They're fans. So obviously if they are using that product, what will happen is those fans will actually use that product, and of course it's a money-making business. I mean, if Mahatma Gandhi wore a watch of Swatch, I would wear it. Yeah, I would wear it. I was like, oh, he wore it, I'll wear it.
The use of famous people in advertising and other things, do you think that has a negative effect, especially on young people?
At times, yes. There are some of the advertisements which are not meant or not, you know, they are offensive to younger generations. So at times, yes.
Do you think that famous people can influence public opinion beyond just selling things? They can make people vote differently or believe?
Yes, they can. They influence a lot of people today. Even cricketers or any kind of famous personality, they influence the public, you know, to do things.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm fine with that as long as, I mean, at times I do like, but then at times I don't like, so I don't bother much.
All right. Well, thanks, Kush. That's the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.